What up, gang? What's going on, y'all? Yeah, running late, running late. That's life. I forgot about a birthday that I had to go to, so I had to wrangle the kids together and get that going. Can you guys hear me good? Everybody hear me good? What up, guys? I'm going to get this pulled up. For some reason, it doesn't want to show my lives on my channel. I'm trying to find it. There we go. So that I can share it for you guys to find. Okay. Go ahead and post that with some cherry emojis because why not? Now, if you guys ever want to be on this stream, just let me know and I'll schedule it. That way we can get you on there. But so this is a new thing that I've been trying to do for a while. I'm still trying to get the studio together. We've got to get everything out of the room here so that I can get more soundproofing in here and better lighting. So once I get that going, we should be rolling. My computer right now is really clocking, trying to keep up with everything. Mm-hmm. Now, eventually, I want to get it where I can stream it on like all the platforms and everything, but you got to pay for this and you got to pay for that and pay for everything. And it's just a whole bunch of everything. But I hope you guys like the lighting today. I kind of threw it together real quick so it would look pretty good. But so anyway, as you can tell by the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about anime. And you might be saying, well, I thought that you talked about intersexual dynamics and stuff like that and crapped on betas on XApp all day long. Thought that's what you done. That is true. I do that. But I also like to talk about anime because if you know anything about like people that work out nowadays, most of the time, if you go back to when those people were kids, most of the time, if you see somebody that's really fit and they're like in their 30s to 20s, they probably watch anime because they had a lot of those influences make it to where they wanted to get big and muscular. And a lot of times it's going to be because of Dragon Ball Z or something along the lines of that. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but there's not a whole lot of anime nowadays that shows super muscular main characters. And that's kind of odd. Never watched anime. Perfect. You're the perfect demographic to talk about anime then, because you'll have no idea what we're talking about. But it is kind of strange though that I haven't really seen too many super muscular dudes on animes here lately. Like you'll see a couple, but you don't really see that many anymore. They'll be like one strong guy on the team. You know what I mean? About a ragtag crew. Usually the main character is the smallest one, but he's the strongest one, which don't make a whole lot of sense. But there you go. And then there'll be one tank on the team. You know, there's always kind of like when you're doing raids on video games. There's always one tank. Well, there's always one tank, and usually one big guy. And if I look up, I feel bad not remembering his name, but the Lion Sin from the Seven Deadly Sins, he was the tank on that show because you had all your different characters, and he was the Sin of Pride, the Lion Sin of Pride. He had a very, very formal name too. I'm trying to remember. I'll just pull it up here and it'll tell me. They all had strange names, but he had a very, very formal name. And usually you'll have websites that has like all the different characters on there. Because you had anyway, somebody will tell me what it is. But yeah, he was the tank on there because he was big, and it was funny too. Escanor, that's his name, Escanor, and he was the tank one. If I can get it pulled up right here. Escanor, Seven Deadly Sins. Okay, so let's do present. Share screen. That one. Okay. Do Escanor. Images. There you go. Yeah, so see him. I don't know if you can see him, but big old dude, big muscular guy, Sin of Pride. He was a lot larger than the other characters. And what was cool about him was he looked like this most of the time. This little guy here. And then during the day, he would turn into the Lion Sin. And that was pretty cool because he was like a reverse werewolf. Does that make sense? So that was pretty neat. All right, let's stop sharing screen. Okay. All right. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. He was like a reverse werewolf. And he was my favorite character on the show. What's going on, guys? What's going on, Nuke? But he was my favorite guy on the show because he was the kind of character that was extremely cocky and arrogant, but backed it up in every way. Like I still remember this famous quote that he told one of the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments ability was anybody that was around him would be too scared to fight. Like it would really take the fighting spirit away from them. so their body wouldn't move around him because it was so frightened. And I thought that was a pretty cool ability. Well, Escanor just comes stepping up to him, gets right in his face and leans down and says, "Hello, my name is Escanor, the Lion Sin of Pride. Now you have met me." And he was like, "Why are you not scared like the rest of them?" And or why it was if you were angry at him. Yeah, if you were angry at him, you couldn't fight. And he goes, "Well, why aren't you angry at me? All your friends are on the ground and everything." He goes, "Well, why would I be angry at someone that is weaker than me?" And I was like, "Oh." He said, "All I feel is pity." And so he was kind of like the Vegeta of the group, but backed it up every single time. Because you would go to fight him and you're like, "Oh, so he's going to fight. So that's why I like that character. I always liked characters like that were extremely physically strong. That was always so cool to me. And so that made me want to grow up and become physically strong myself. Because when I was a kid, Toonami was going full strength on Cartoon Network. So when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, it was Dragon Ball Z every day. Dragon Ball Z every day. And I knew that it came on, I think it came on at 3:30. And see, I got on the bus and I would get off the bus at like 3:25. So I was running down the driveway to get in the house to turn on Dragon Ball Z. And at that time, the advertisement was already going. The Toonami trailers were already going. It was like Toonami. And then, it was showing all the scenes from the different shows. And it was showing that one fighting scene from World's Strongest where he's fighting all the different guys. He's like, and then he's fighting the two guys at one time. And then it was what was the Garlic Jr. movies and stuff like that. And if you don't watch anime, you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, but it was different Dragon Ball Z movies. And anyway, then the show would come on. And it was usually the Namek Saga. They showed the Namek Saga like over and over and over. And it was always the same. And you would watch it. You would watch it every single time because you just loved Dragon Ball Z. And I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Kai for people like Nuke that are younger. I'm not talking about Dragon Ball Kai. I'm talking about Dragon Ball Z, where the fight with Frieza was like 55 episodes. I mean, it was drawn out. He said Planet Namek will blow up in 5 minutes. That lasted 55 episodes. That was the longest 5 minutes of any other time. Oh man, but it was so worth it. And I really feel like Dragon Ball Z went downhill after that saga because it was still a really good show, but they missed a core element of Goku's character, which was when he turned into a Super Saiyan, his whole character changed. It was then that he was a murderer. Okay. Because when he turned into the Super Saiyan, then he decided he was going to kill Frieza. Because he didn't kill. That was his whole thing. He didn't ever kill. And except when he fought Piccolo and ran through his stomach and then killed him. But we don't talk about that because that's Dragon Ball. But anyway, so when he turned into a Super Saiyan, he said, "I'm going to kill you. You're done. You're not going anywhere else." And then he still spared him, and he tried to backstab him, and then he killed him. It was the same thing kind of with when Cooler, his brother, showed up on Earth. He was going to, like spare him. And he just kept on and on and on about going to destroy the Earth and all this kind of stuff. He said, "Okay, I got to kill him." And that's what they kind of missed about that character was I really feel like when he turns into a Super Saiyan, it should change his whole personality. He should be Kakarot at that point and not Goku anymore. Because later in Dragon Ball Z, he was like that. When he was fighting Boo, he was standing on business. When he fought Boo on King Kai's planet, or whatever planet he was on when he was Supreme Kai's planet. He was on business. There was that famous scene where he's just staring at him with lightning behind him, and Boo's kind of smiling at him because they're going to fight, and he don't even realize like you're not looking at Goku right now. You're looking at Kakarot. And that's when Vegeta really acknowledged that he was better than him. So that was an important scene too. He said, "This guy's actually he's better than me," and that was kind of cool too because that's when Vegeta decided that he was going to become super duper strong because he tried to cheat. He tried to cheat by becoming a Majin to jump to Super Saiyan 2. And I thought it was interesting how he did the same thing in GT by getting shot by that beam to get to go Super Saiyan 4 and skip Super Saiyan 3 when he had already acknowledged. So there was a lot of, there's a lot of double standards going there. And it's mainly because the guy that created Dragon Ball Z could not remember everything. He literally made Super Saiyans blonde so that he would not have to color them all the time when he was doing the pages. He said, I had to color this black hair every single time, but if I make him blonde, then I just leave it clear. And so anyway, but yeah, that's why I wanted to be big and strong, and I'm getting there slowly but surely. Anyway, what does it have to do with RP stuff? What does it have to do with intersexual dynamics? Well, if you watch enough anime, it has everything to do with it. Anime is going leaps and bounds higher than anything else right now. It is crapping all over Western entertainment because they're just blasting shows. The guys making the TV shows right now are like almost fixing to go on strike because they're just blasting out episodes. One of the episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen, when it came out, was 30% done because the people had been working so hard they could not get it completed. But they're just blasting these shows out and they're destroying everything. Like I posted on my Twitter today the advertisement for or the leaks for the new live action version of How to Train Your Dragon. Toothless looks awesome because they're doing they actually built an actual big Toothless puppeteer puppet and painted it and all kinds of stuff, and it looks really cool. And the guy they casted as Hiccup looks just like him, even though it doesn't really matter, but it looks just like him. And they got Gerard Butler to be his dad, the voice of the actual movie. They're going to get him to be the dad, which is cool. Yeah, practical effects, yeah. And then I looked who they casted as Astrid. And if you go to my Twitter, you'll see. If I pull it up, makes me so mad. Just because I keep doing it. They just keep doing it. All right. Is this my app? All right, let's go to my page. All right. I'm going to go to the original. Let's go to dark mode. I don't know why it's not on dark mode. Where's dark mode at? Where's dark mode? There we go. Lights out. Okay, let's go back to my page. Pull up that. Scroll down. Now, let's add this to there. Now you can see it. You see that? You see that nonsense? You see that? That's Astrid right there. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right there. See anything? See anything odd about that? See anything odd about that? I just think it's really funny that they are using this guy that looks just like him. A little bit better chin. And then they're going to go with her. And what's really funny about this girl is they had her as one of her acting jobs as being on The Last of Us. I was like, really? I don't remember her. She's the daughter that got killed in the first episode within like the first 5 minutes of the show. Now, I understand that you got to credit her for that acting job. But, dude, I could have done that. Walks forward, takes bullet. Okay. Here's my check. Where's my money at? But then we're going to go even further. Look at this girl's face. Like, just look at her face. Okay. What is the obsession with herbivore-eyed girls on movies nowadays? You got The Color Purple. You got The Little Mermaid. You got that failed Snow White movie. What's going on here? You know, what's going on? Whose daughter is she? Exactly. Because, I mean, but they keep going, they keep casting these fetal alcohol syndrome girls, these cow-eyed girls. They keep casting them over and over and over. It's like an obsession. And if you're wondering, the studio that made The Last of Us is helping them make this show. So that's why they're recycling actresses. But really? And so you know what's going to happen. She's going to come out and start doing actual appearances places. And she's going to start running that mouth. And they're going to find out that she's not a good investment. And then they're going to be in trouble. Just like what happened with the Snow White girl. They started telling her what to say. And then she started going off on a tangent. And they said, oh, we got to cancel this whole thing. Red Stag, Mountain Dew Zero. Anyway, so yeah. It makes me ill. You know, it just makes me ill. They keep doing this. So, back to anime. If we go, I'm going to close some of this stuff out so my computer's not straying so much. Let's go to anime 2024. There's a lot of new anime that has come out in just the last little bit, and I've liked most of them. There's one, if I could say the name, I think it's called Buchigiri. But it's a very interesting show. I'll pull it up where you guys can see it. Share screen. This one. All right. You guys see that? I may have to do it. Let's make it bigger. There we go. Now you can see it. But Buchigiri, I think it's called what it's called. It's basically about these spirits called honky people. I know. I said the same thing. I was like, honky people? Really? Japanese man? Honky people? Anyway, it's about these honky people that are apparently really good fighters. Use like almost like spirit energy to be fighters. And my people, yeah. And basically, they use like spirit energy to be fighters, kind of like Yu Yu Hakusho. And anyway, they were locked up, and one of them got released by accident, and he's like a genie. Basically, at this point, that's what they were calling him, was a jinn. And this boy accidentally gets him latched onto him, so he's kind of like a sidekick. And when he needs to fight somebody, he can merge with that genie to give him a lot of spirit, like a lot of physical strength. And so sounds pretty cool, right? Well, he's really blue pilled when it comes to women. And there's this one girl on there that he really likes. And this is her, this is her big brother that she's obsessed with. And all the characters on the show are really cool because they're all drastically different. And even this one boy right here, he wears like a kilt all the time, but it works for him. It looks cool on him. He looks like a skateboarder punk. And so they're all just really, really cool. Maybe if I click this right here, it'll show a little bit more detailed in the characters. But yeah, like they're all very drastically different, so you can tell exactly who everybody is. And anyway, the main character, he's like a lot smaller than the rest of them, of course. Oh, like right here, you can see some of their outfits and stuff. So pretty cool how drastic they are, different than each other. And there's more characters to come, and they'll all be the same way. But I just thought that was a really, really neat anime, how they took that much time to do all the characters so different. But the scary guy I showed you, the green-haired guy with the piercings and stuff, his little sister is obsessed with him. And the main character, the little guy there, he likes her. And so she uses that to her advantage to try to get him to join her gang, or her brother's gang, because she wants her brother to retire from the gang. And so she can get him 24/7. Because Japan is really weird about that. Japan's really into my brother is obsessed with me, or I'm obsessed with my brother kind of stuff. That comes to brother and sister stuff, you know? And so, yeah, there's like 2 or 3 different anime I'm watching right now where there's one character in it that's like obsessed with their sibling. And it's really common in Japan, apparently. But anyway, so he's really blue pill when it comes to women, and he's really blue pill when it comes to life. So he's just a beta all the way around. His friend, though, this guy, is a pretty alpha dude, but he really wants to be friends with his buddy again because they were childhood friends. And he got beat up one time, and the little guy didn't come to save him. And so the little guy has took it really hard. And every time he sees him, it's kind of like a representation of his failure of not protecting him. So that's why he kind of gets mad and doesn't want to be around him. So he ends up actually joining the rival gang that he's in, rival gang of the one that he's in. So that's pretty interesting. And I wonder if it'll have more pictures on this website. I'll just get to this website. There's the trailer right there. You can see the genie in the background there. Some of the characters. Pretty interesting. There's part of the genie right there. But yeah, it's really, really neat show. But you could say that he's pretty he's pretty beta when it comes to things like that. So I would fool around say that he's flat out beta because his whole reasoning for merging with the genie is to lose his virginity. Now, I mean, most guys they like that in high school, but he's obsessing over losing his virginity with her when he could really just have whatever girl he wants. Well, in reality, he couldn't, but he could strive to do that. And anyway, so that's a really good anime. And then if I had to think of another one right now, probably going to go, I'll just go right to my website that I used to watch. Well, right there, Solo Leveling. That was a really anticipated anime. Solo Leveling. The apparently everybody was reading the manga except for me, and so the anime was getting ready to come out, and everybody was super excited. And 1 year just flew by until it got here, and now this show's going. And I'm going to tell you, I was a little disappointed in the first episode because I was really expecting more. And here we are, and it took like four episodes really for him to, kind of get started. And I think that they thought that it was going to be a lot more in the first episode. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys right now, if you do animes and you do a first episode premiere, do 2 episodes. Either do 2 episodes or do 1 hour-long episode. That's what I think. That's my opinion when it comes to that. And that's just what I think. Now, if any of you guys in the comment section, if y'all want to get on here with me and talk about this with me, you just let me know. Because I know Nuke and people like that really like anime. But yeah, Solo Leveling, it really should have been an hour episode because it was really anticipated. So let me get out of some of this stuff here. It was really anticipated anime. So then it drops, and everybody's kind of like, oh, this is the first episode. It doesn't really tell you that much. It just kind of leaves you on a cliffhanger, which is pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like, come on, guys. All right, let's bring that back up. That one right there. I tried to close out all the other windows. That way I wouldn't have so much on here. All right. Yeah. So Solo Leveling, pretty cool show. So far, I'm like 4 episodes in. He's finally starting to gain some of his abilities, which are pretty cool. I don't know much about what's going on with him, but apparently he died thanks to this creepy SOB right here, which chopped him up into little pieces. And so then he was he woke up, and then he was in he was in a hospital. So then he was trying to figure out what was going on. And from that point on, it was kind of like his life was a video game because he kept having these status menus pop up in front of him that only he can see. And it was like daily challenges, leveling up, stuff like that. And what it was is somebody give him a second chance at life. And he doesn't know who, but if he doesn't complete these daily challenges, it punches him. And it punishes him by throwing him into like a dungeon, so to speak. If you're an adventurer, you would understand that. A dungeon, so to speak, where he has to survive for so long. And it'd get something that's like levels and levels above him. Heard something. So that's pretty cool. But we finally get to see him use a little bit of his abilities here lately. It's kind of like One Punch Man, where he's just getting a lot stronger, you know, than everybody else. And so this character, I would say that he's pretty alpha because he started out, it's kind of like a Spider-Man story where he was a beta guy that gained superpowers. And then now he's having to become more alpha to get past his situation in life. It's kind of like, here's the opportunities. We're going to give you the opportunities, but you're not going to be able to do jack nothing with them unless you sack up. And he was like, okay, it's time for me to sack up. And that's when he started facing his fears. So that's pretty cool. So I would say that he's more alpha now. He started out pretty beta because he was like, I want to become an adventurer because my mom's in the hospital and I got to pay the bills and my sister's trying to go to school. So I'll become an alpha or I'll become an adventurer to do that. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like you're throwing your life away for all that stuff, which is cool, but you'll never see a woman do that. But anyway, so that's a pretty good show. And then there is another show, and it's not the first season, but it's still really cool. It's called MASH Lee. Now, I really like this show. It's a very nonchalant show, but I really like it because it spoofs the heck out of Harry Potter. Like, it really just craps on Harry Potter for the sake of it. And David, you said you like Demon Slayer. Yeah, I really like Demon Slayer too. This last season was really good. Now, I really liked the Red Light District season. I really liked that because that was pretty cool there at the end. I mean, that was cool. I mean, I was just like, there was so much anxiety when they were trying to cut the heads off of both the demons at the same time. And he's just like screaming, doing everything he can to make the cut on the guy's neck. And the demons are fighting to stay alive and you're fighting to cut the neck and everybody's sprawling out. It's basically like trying to nail down a wild animal. And the wild animal's just flailing and you're flailing. And there's so much anxiety. That was a really cool season. And then you had the new season at the Swordsmith camp. And it was the same thing. Like he's running after the demon. The demon's trying to get to some people to kill him to get his strength back. And it's just like, kill. I was just screaming at the screen, kill that effing demon. Get it. And it's like, it was so much anxiety. So, but I think that's where that show really flourishes, is it just brings so much anxiety and so much suspense in the show to where that little boy is just doing everything he can. Like if you were able to do that with My Hero Academia, if they would just take those people and start doing My Hero Academia the way they did that, I feel like it'd be a lot better show. Yeah, season 2 fight was a lot better than season 3 because that sister got her time to shine when she turned into the full-fledged demon and was just burning the heck out of that girl and then like smashed her head to pieces with her foot. I was like, wow, she brute strength her way through her. You could really tell that the sister of the demon was not as strong as him at all. It was just that she had to be with him because if she died and he died at the same time, he's dead. Which didn't really make a lot of sense because I'd been like, well, sister, you just go away. You know what I mean? Like you just go somewhere else. Then they'll never be able to kill me. Because what are they going to do? Travel 100 miles to try to find her at the same time they're trying to find me? Good luck with that. But that's just me. But anyway, let's talk about MASH Lee. MASH Lee is really interesting because it's a spoof on Harry Potter. And basically, these kids are born with magical abilities or not. And if you're born without magical abilities, you're not a citizen. Basically, you are lower than. You're basically worthless. You have no rights. So anyway, hold on just a second, guys. My bad. I had to go close the door because everybody just came home. But anyway, so you don't have any rights basically if you don't have magical abilities, and you can tell clearly by somebody has magical abilities by they have these lines on their faces, and according to how many lines they have is how strong they are. And the most I've ever seen is 3 lines. If you have 3 lines, you're basically like a gift from God. You're so much more powerful than everybody else. It's not even funny. But if you don't, you can't do anything. Well, Mash, the main character, was born with no magical abilities. And so his grandpa lives with him in the woods, because if you don't have any magical abilities, they're basically gonna get out of here, sister. If you aren't born with any magical abilities, you might get sold into slavery. So the brother or the grandpa basically just takes him into the woods and raises him. And while he's in the woods, he's doing physical training. Okay, the boy's like training every day. He's like Saitama. He's over there, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 squats, and I run 2 miles or 10 miles every day. And so, needless to say, if Mash Lee was in the One Punch Man universe, he would be stronger than One Punch Man, because he trains so much harder that he would be beyond superhuman. Anyway, time comes for him to go out on his own, and they decide to fake his magical abilities by drawing a line on his face. I know. And then having him go to the magical academy, because that's the only way he's going to be able to become anything, is if he graduates from the magical academy. And you might be saying, well, he don't have no magical abilities. What he going to do? Well, that's where the show comes in. And he basically fakes his magical abilities with his physical strength. And you might be thinking, well, how does he do that? This brother can run so fast that it makes it look like he's flying, that it makes it look like he's doing other stuff. He can use friction on the ground to start fires. I mean, this guy is super strong. And anyway, so it's hilarious because it does not take it serious at all when it comes to that stuff. But the storyline's very serious, because if they ever find out, they'll kill him. And so now it's getting to the point now to where they've almost figured out that he's going to be the only one that's going to be able to stop the bad wizards. Because, just like in Harry Potter, you got this secret society that's trying to cause havoc. And so it would be really cool if it turned out to be, the main bad guy turned out to be the one that killed his parents or something, just like Harry Potter. Would be hilarious to me. And anyway, the show is really good. You'll like it if you like that kind of stuff. But if I had to go with this guy, I would say that he was what you would call a gem cell, because he maxed out on his physical abilities and has 0 social skills. None. He has 0 social skills. So you'll be watching him interact with people. He cannot understand anything above maybe like a 5th grade level conversation. Because if you start talking about anything specific, his ears will start smoking. Because all he knows is beat you in ground. And so anytime somebody challenges him, he'll be like, all right, then I'm going to punch you. But anyway, trying to come up with a funny Asian name for Harry Potter. Yeah, I don't have one for that either. But I just know that this show's hilarious. And what's funny is the blonde hair girl on the show really says a lot of the tropes that women say now in society, making fun of like modern women, which I think is really hilarious. All right. Because she said at one point, everybody's crapping on Mash Lee, the main character, because of his no magic abilities. And everybody's like, yeah, I would be really down in the dumps if I was Mash, but he seems to be really upbeat and all that kind of stuff. And everybody's like, yeah, it'd be so hard for me to be able to deal with it. And she said, yeah, I would probably just still be sitting here blaming society. You know what I mean? It's like, that's such a thing that they would say, it's society's fault that I can't get anywhere in life. But that's a really good show. Let's see, what's another one here? Let's go to the main website. Oh, excuse me. Long day today. Oh, I know. This one's going to be really specific for what we're talking about today. Tales of Wedding Rings. Now, if you've watched this show, you know what I'm talking about. If you hadn't watched the show, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But basically, this guy becomes the Ring King, and he follows this girl right here. Yeah, I would have followed her too. He follows this girl right here to another world through a gate and becomes the Ring King. And now he has to become said Ring King. View image. Share this tab instead. All right, can you see that there? Yeah. So there's your main character. Marty says, give me one show to watch tonight. Start watching Solo Leveling. There's 4 episodes you can watch right now. You'll really like that show. And then when you get done with that show, start watching Shangri-La Frontier. You'll like that show too. But this one's called Tales of Wedding Rings. And like I said, the main character there is the boy. He follows a blonde-headed girl to another world. And he becomes the Ring King there. Like they do the ceremony, he becomes Ring King. Well, through her, yeah, Solo Leveling. Yeah, we'll start watching that tonight. It's 4 episodes. Through her, he gains strength. He gains magical strength through their bond. So any weapon he touches is endowed with that power. So it's kind of like he has an enchant ability where he can enchant weapons when he touches them. And so that helps him defeat demons. And that's what they need there in that kingdom is the Ring King to show up because they're the only one that you can use magic to kill the demons. So the closer they get in their bond, the more powerful he gets. Well, then it turns out that she's only one of the rings. There's 4 other rings. And she knew, but she didn't really know. Like she didn't want to tell him so much because she kind of wanted to have him to herself as long as possible. But it's not going to work because they're in so much danger that they got to immediately go after the other rings. Well, then they tell him, hey, by the way, there's 4 other rings, and that means 4 other princesses that you have to marry. And he's like, oh. Because he's really beta, and he met her as a child, and he romanticized their relationship, and they just now are acknowledging each other in that way. Now that they're like probably about 16, 17, maybe 18. So anyway, now they got to go find other princesses, and they go after the fairy princess first. They go after the fairy princess first. And then I'm guessing next they're going to have to go after the half animal and probably the half demon or the demon one and then the technology one, whatever. And I've noticed that in these shows, a lot of times they do all the standard tropes when they do these harem type shows, there's always the standard one, and they have to throw a fairy in there, and they have to throw some kind of beast kin in there, and then some girl with horns, and then a short haired girl with no emotions. It's always the same stack up of characters. And anyway, so it's a pretty interesting show because it's kind of like the premise of how do you deal with that kind of thing. Because I don't know about you, but if I'm in that situation, first of all, they tell me, hey, you're in a different world. And also, you got to marry this girl that you've always liked right now. Oh, and by the way, after you married her, now you got to marry 4 more girls. But we got to go find them. And don't get killed by the demons. I don't know. It'd be stressful for me. And a lot of you guys are thinking, great, yeah, I'll marry all 4 of those girls. Yeah, I'll marry them. It's like, yeah, but I don't think you realize how hard that would be. And not dying at the same time. But it's a pretty good show so far. It's pretty interesting. Let's see. What's another one? There is the one that I just mentioned a while ago. Shangri-La Frontier. Spelt just like the Paradise Shangri-La. It's a pretty cool show. You can probably see the characters now. Yeah, got them pulled up. Is that another anime where they're married but they don't sleep together? Yes, because he's so sounds like a job for Mish. Yeah, it does really. The Tales of the Wedding Rings, yeah, is kind of like that because they really want to, but they're both extremely shy because they're virgins. And so there's that whole premise where, he's constantly getting them thrown on him naked, and then he doesn't know what to do, and he's like freaking out. But I think eventually they're going to have to consummate some of those marriages because he gets stronger the more they are together. So he's going to have to consummate that to really get the strength that he needs to fight the demons. So it's kind of like, but babe, we gotta do the do though. We gotta have sex because I gotta go kill the demons. So that's that age old thing. I'm gonna start telling my girl that you gotta have sex with me because I gotta go kill the demons. But they got to stretch out the romantic growth. Yeah, exactly. Unless you're watching Redo of Healer. Anybody know that? Anybody know that anime? Redo of Healer? They didn't stretch out that romance at all. And there's another show kind of like that. What was it called? It was called Harem something, where the guy woke up and he's in another world, and he decides to get stronger, but he really wants to be with a woman, and so he decides to go buy a slave, and he saves up money to buy this slave that he really likes, and she's like one of those beastkins, and then he buys her, and he took her right home and had sex with her right then. Like it was like the same day. He was like, "Get your clothes off," and then after that, she was in love with him. And I always tell my girl we had to get the poison out. If we don't, it'll kill us. Yeah, there you go. But he took that girl home that day, had sex with her. Then later on he bought another one, and they're all getting jealous of each other. Because on that show, the harem show, nobody treats the beastkins as humans. They're just slaves. But he doesn't care because he's not from that world. And he'll sleep with anything. So them girls are hot to him. He just sleep with all of them. They're getting obsessed with him because nobody treats him like that. But anyway, I digress. And also, if you watch Redo of Healer, you're a degenerate. Just so you know. If you've watched Redo of Healer, you're a degenerate. Anyway, So, Shangri-La Frontier. You see the characters right here. Got your standard characters. You got the long-haired, big boob girl. You got the short blonde, little boob girl. You got the rabbit character, which actually turns into a girl, of course, conveniently. And then you have the soldier guy in the background, which is actually a girl. It's another one of those. Everybody around me is a girl. How convenient. And so you got the main character right there. You might be saying, why does that main character have a bird head? Well, that would be because it's a mask. It's part of his equipment because he basically wanted to go as light as possible in this game that he's playing. So he went as light as possible on the equipment and like maxed out agility and speed. And so he's super fast. He doesn't even have shoes on. And he dual wields knives, which is pretty freaking cool to me. But anyway, so he's a very very non-standard game player. What was that show? What was that a podcast I was watching today where they were talking about StarCraft? It was one of the guys I know. They were talking about StarCraft, and they were talking about how the guy on the podcast used to do really good because he was a non-standard game player of StarCraft because everybody played StarCraft the same way. It's kind of like playing checkers. Everybody played it the same way. But he would play it a different way, and nobody could figure out how he was playing, and so he would beat everybody. And they got pissed off. That's the way this guy does in this game. He intentionally plays games that are bad. He intentionally plays games that are not very good. So they decide to get him to play this game, which is a god tier game. It's a perfect game. So he uses his unconventional ways of playing to play this game. He ends up doing like all of these side stories way off the main story. He's skipping towns. He's finding this thing here. He's finding this legendary monster here, and nobody can figure out how he's doing it. And it reminds me a lot of that show with the girl that said, I maxed out, I don't like getting hit, so I maxed out my defense. And she's like a 4 foot tall character carrying a great shield. And nobody can figure out how she plays because she does everything different than everybody else. And they kept trying to nerf the game. The people running the game kept trying to nerf the game to hurt her, and she kept finding ways around it. Well, this is kind of the same way. He's very unconventional, and through that, he has gained a lot of unconventional weapons and side stories and made friends with a lot of people. So, pretty cool. I would say this guy is straight alpha. It's one of those cases of he really has nothing going on besides the video games. And you might be saying, well, that's pretty beta. Well, I would say that he's alpha and he puts what he wants to do first. You know what I mean? Because people seem to have a bad conception of what alpha and beta traits are. To me, he would be alpha because he really doesn't want to do anything else but what he wants to do. Now, he would be beta in a lot of other areas because he's not very physically strong. He doesn't really take care of himself. And he's not very good at noticing interactions with women because there's a girl that's obsessed with him and he has no idea. So I say that he's alpha in that way and he's blue pill in a lot of other ways. Maybe a blue pill alpha. But at the same time, he doesn't pedestalize women, so you can't really say that he's that much beta. He just doesn't care about women. He's young and he likes to play video games. So there's that. Okay. So how long have we been going here? Right at an hour. So you guys got any questions so far? You got anything you want to talk to about on here? Huh? You guys got anything else you want to talk about? As we wrap things up, and like I said, I want to do this every week about the same time, and basically we'll talk about the different animes, and we can go to episode and talk about blue pill, red pill, and how they deal with the different shows and everything. You've been watching Frieren. I have been watching that show. I actually kind of like that show. The only part I don't like is the fact that it drags on. You know what I mean? Because there'll be certain points where it's really just walking around talking. And I know why. Because they're trying to put it in perspective of the main character. The main character, she is an elf. But she is that standard elf of I've been alive for a long time. Nothing really matters. I don't care. And so on and so forth. So she actually goes to this point to where the first 500 years of her life, she doesn't really have any emotions. And it doesn't get to where, except to where she's like 1,000 years old, to where she starts to figure out about empathy and emotions and things like that, happiness, sadness, stuff like that, because she doesn't see the point in it. And that's the reason being is because she's an elf, and the elf species on this show is actually dying out because they live so long they forget to reproduce because they just don't care. So they all kind of split up and went different directions, and it's kind of rare seeing an elf on here now. So she is an elf. She would be a Saiyan if she was a species on another show. You might be saying, why would an elf be a Saiyan? Well, because she hides her power level, so to speak. She hides her magical power level. She's able to shrink her energy down and keep it at a base level because magical people can actually sense the auras of other people. And most people do not hide their magical power levels. And on the show, there's a species called demons, and demons judges everybody by their power level. So you have a hierarchy of demons built specifically on who is stronger. And if I was to say anything about it, I would say it's the closest thing that you can see to a male hierarchy is the stronger is the better. The stronger is the better. Stronger is the better. Nobody hides their power levels. And what you see is what you get. Well, Frieren hides hers because demons hate elves, and they're trying to kill different groups of people that their leader tells them to kill. So they go after people that are strong like that. So she hides her power level so they won't go after her. And that causes them to think that she's weak because the demons actually think it's disrespectful to hide their power levels. Because it's like you're being deceitful, and the demons are not deceitful in that way of battle. They're deceitful in other ways, but they're not deceitful when it comes to their power levels. They don't like to be tricked. And the reason being is because demons cannot hide their power levels on there. Well, anyway, you got Frieren here. She's about the closest thing to a sociopath you'll ever see. She doesn't understand emotions, but she's kind of got a kinky side where she likes to mess with this girl that she's with, and mess with her clothes every now and then. But so she's pretty funny on there. But anyway, that show's pretty interesting. I like it so far. It's pretty cool. I really like that one scene where she reveals how strong she actually is, and it scares that demon girl so bad she about pees herself. Imagine if you were a Dragon Ball Z character, and you know how they power up and they have the energy around them, the fire around them, like going and stuff. You've seen how it is with those characters. Imagine it's so big when you powered up that it engulfed the other character, and their power, your powerful aura is so big that it's like 30 feet across. I mean, that's how strong she is. Anything else? You guys got anything else to talk about? And it doesn't have to be anime, but that's mainly what I want to talk about on here and how it has to do with intersectional dynamics. Because if you'll notice, a lot of these shows are blue pill alphas. A lot of these shows, the main character is a blue pill alpha. Goku's about the closest to an alpha straight up that I can see. And you might say, why? Because he doesn't care about anything except for fighting. Like, he doesn't care about anything except for getting stronger and fighting somebody stronger. He don't even care about them kids. He's man, F them kids. He don't even care about his own kids so much as he cares about getting stronger. That's pretty much all you got going on for him. Like on Seven Deadly Sins, Meliodas, blue pill alpha all day long. You're telling me this guy nerfed himself 3 times over 300 years so that he could be with the same girl over and over and over. It's just dumb. She keeps getting reincarnated, and he keeps going and finding her and falling in love with her all over again, or making her fall in love with him. Basically, 50 First Dates, but 7 Deadly Sins. Yeah. Best boobs in anime. Yep. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. But yeah. Most characters, blue pill alpha, because they romanticize the love on the show. And I think that it comes down to that's the way Japan is. They really, the Japanese guys really romanticize love, and they build a fantasy world of what the girls should act like in that scenario. Oh, you're asking which ones are best boobs. We could do a whole show on that. That would be pretty funny. Which anime has the best boobs? Oh man, what's that one show? I just looked it up the other day. Something in gold. Man, what was that? You guys know what I'm talking about? Man. It's where the boy, he finds a book that's got a demon locked in it, and he opens it up, and it's this lady with really big boobs. I had it. I had a joke about it. I'll pull it up on my Twitter. Okay, there it is. Vermeil in gold. Vermeil in gold. I'll pull her up and you'll be like, oh, yeah. High School of the Dead. That's a good one, too. I mean, am I right? Look at that. It's as big. They're as big as his head. They're as big as his head. Usaki. I mean, come on. Look at them things. But I should do one. I should do a whole show on that one day. That would be funny. Because there's a lot of shows growing up. High School of the Living Dead. What was that one show where he had like the demon inside of him? Let's see. Yeah, nice. Yeah. And what was funny was since she's a demon, she can't gain her own magical energy. She has to take from him. Well, he happens to have a very special energy that she really likes. So she keeps him around and she ends up kind of like falling in love with him. But she gets the energy through, she has to get that energy out of there, if you know what I mean. So basically, she's just molesting him all the time because he's like a really young kid and she's like a 300-year-old demon. But I thought that was hilarious. I was like, y'all really doing a lot on this show. Let's see, what was a let's go to the main one here. Yeah, like my anime list has top 15 best boobs. So I could do like a whole show. And especially on Overlord, which is one of my favorite shows. But the girl on there, why do they not have her name? But yeah, that her on there, that's a good one. Um, you know, they talk about those Monster Girl shows. I never really got into those Monster Girl shows. But High School of the Dead has very funny anime with boobs. Kill la Kill. Yeah, Kill la Kill. That was a good one too. High School DxD. That's what I was thinking of with the demon boy. Somebody said Knights of Sidonia. I don't count Knights of Sidonia. It's not a real anime. prison school. that's a that's yeah, prison school is going to have to be in that video too. But yeah, I'm going to do a video of that. That's just funny to me. And, like, Japanese dudes like big boobs. They do. Then there's that one show where they fight with their butts. Have you seen that? It's hilarious. Like, they have competitions where they basically slam their butts into each other, and whoever wins. Caged heat. Yeah, caged heat. Oh. Let's see what else they got on there. Prison school. Akime la Kill. Somebody said on Pokemon, James with boobs. His boobs was better than everybody else when he had those fake boobs. I always really liked the aesthetic of the old anime too. Like that show Plastic Little and stuff like that. Those were always really cool. But yeah, I could do one on like top 10 mech anime, top 10 fighting anime, top 10 blah blah blah. What I really like to do is tie them into what do they have to do with dating and stuff nowadays, because a lot of these main characters, they are in very unrealistic situations that will never happen, but it's funny to kind of see how they deal with it. But I think that's going to be it for me today, guys. I got to get off here. Going to go eat some ribs. Going to go take care of the kids before my lady goes insane. But thanks for watching, guys. I got a lot more interaction than I thought I would get, because I was kind of thinking I'm going to do this and nobody's going to show up, and I had to do this for a while to kind of figure out how it goes, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I really appreciate you guys doing it. And if you guys want to be on here, let me know. I'm going to try to do this every Sunday so that I can kind of get a routine going. So I'll schedule it on that like a Friday, and then have it on a Sunday. That way you guys kind of get to see what I'm going to have there. And then eventually I can have some of the other guys on there, because I know a lot of guys on my Twitter watch anime. And if they are versed like me in intersexual dynamics, then we could tie it into the show and it would make more sense. Of course, we could talk about anime boobs all day long and we would get tons of views because everybody likes boobs. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to like the video, because the more you like the video, the more it gets out. Or something like that. Comment, whatever. Thanks for watching, guys. I know, Marty, you don't know what's going on, but I even appreciate you more for watching it, because you don't know what's going on. I'm going to learn you something. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.